My name is Damien Flores, and I graduated in 2009 from the University of New Mexico. My degree is in English and Chicano Studies. I've been published in several different anthologies. I've had 2 volumes of my own poetry published since 2006. I have been featured on KUNM. I'm the spoken word radio host. I've had several publication credits. I've been quoted in lots of newspapers throughout America. I was a founder of the university, one of the founders of the UNM Lobo Slam team. And we won 2 National Poetry Slam championships for UNM. We were 4-time finalists, 2-time winners, and we also organized the National Poetry Slam Championship here at UNM in 2008. I started taking Chicano Studies classes in the spring of 2005 and decided to make that my major. Every class I took was just more and more engaging, and I saw through the entire program by the end of my college career. Personally, I think it really opened up my eyes to pursuing the history of underrepresented people. And I grew up in Albuquerque, raised up by my grandparents, and was sort of taught the value of sort of, oral tradition and hard work. And I noticed that their stories kind of stopped at that they never really got a chance to pursue their education. And so the Chicano Studies department kind of brought that all to a reality. For me, that I was in a position that that my grandparents enabled me to be in, and there was more appreciation, I think, for my education on that point. And also, as a writer and performer, the 2 subjects, being an English major in creative writing and then Chicano Studies, I was able to sort of combine the 2 studies in my degree program, and that ended up being sort of a turning point in my college career that made me more directed and self-guided. It really sort of woke us up in the struggle for education, and really made us appreciate where we came from, and really made us identify with our struggle, the struggle of our families to survive day to day, and then realize that the new struggle for us is to make it through school. It's more of a personal struggle rather than an outside. The outside struggle is always going on, but the personal struggle to get through college, to make something of yourself, is sort of the first step. If you want to change the world, you got to start with you. And I think that the Chicano Studies program really gives you the perspective, gives you the history that can make that sort of cognitive switch possible.
There was no wind the day Juana battled the machine. Smoke rose from the stacks of the downtown tortilla factory, slow like the wrinkled, steady hands de las viejitas, cocineras, whose fingers were callous as the spirits of their mothers. They were the assembly line of ancient faces. They worked for coins off their husbands' wages. Mothers of the New Deal labored their bones dull with the factory whistle at dawn. Harina y manteca became the skin on their palms, 50 pounds of flour each dark morning. And their grip stung with soft grains and leavening from tortillas. Rounded like the suffered crown of the god carved in the altar, their god hung above the stove. Rounded by rolling pins, cut cedars, smooth with hidden splinters in their hands, and dough rose before the sun. This morning hung bitter in Juana's mouth, like the daylight that did not stretch over her tongue when she woke, when the women found machines on the factory floor where they once stood. Here are your replacements, the boss growled like rusting metal. There's no work for you here. I want you all out. And the ancient faces gazed like forgotten saints they once prayed to. Some cursed the foreman's name, their fists clenched tighter than the gears in the machines that took their jobs. But Juana didn't move. She stood steel heavy, her wrinkles run fierce like flooding arroyos when she said, "I'm faster than any damn machine." And the engine fired, conveyor belt rolled tamales, each an exact copy of the last. Juana took the table beside, handful of masa, corn husk hidden in her skin as she spread masa, carne y chile, each glide of her hand, like wiping tears from her daughter's face, wiped sweat with back of fist, her salt like a blessing of food at the table. She knew it didn't matter as she beat the machine. Regardless, she gone like so many Mexicanas, rotting like nopals beneath the tractor's heels, just as their men's backs were replaced with forklifts and backhoes. But an engine does not name its children after a passing rain cloud, does not brush dead leaves from headstones, and never learn the recipe from una mestiza's tongue. The machine fired, la hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile, bled the crevice of the hands. La hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile wrapped the bandana of Juana's hair. La hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile was her shadow on her wedding day. La hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile, her daughter's birth cries. La hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile, her husband buried in the Philippines. La hoja, la masa, la carne, el chile became the peasant maid's machete, and the engine sang the death of the laborer's breath. The foreman's eyes never left Juana's face as the machine slowed down. Smoke and motor oil snaked the air and the conveyor stopped. Juana crushed the last tamal, her voice like a snake's venom in the chile when she spoke. Cabrón, bésame fundido, malagradecido, veo sonso, estúpido, toma las tamales y ponlos adentro de su culo, pendejo. And her shadow stained the floor where she stood. The next day, the machines unloaded. The women manned the controls, but Juana never showed for work. Some said she joined the army, maybe opened a restaurant. Some said she became a corn plant rooted in burning soil, but none of them knew. Still, their throats all burned from the steam. The gears grind off and rust in their dreams. Their mouths all dry when they say the name of the woman and sing legends of the day. Juana Henrietta made tamales against the machine. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.